Hey everyone, we are live. This is Joey Ryan from Booth Brothers along with Mark White. How's it going, Mark?
Well, I've been better, but I'm all right now. Yeah, we've had some ups and downs, shall we say, technology-wise, but we're all raring to go. Another packed show, of course, tonight. Got some great guests for you this evening. Oh my God, we're just going from strength to strength. It gets better and better, doesn't it?
Yes, it sure does. I mean, let's bring in Molina Mike here. Hey, Molina.
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Oh, doing well, doing well. We already got some people jumping in the chat. Hey, Corby, good to see you, man. Guys, do us a favor, jump in the chat for us. That way we can kind of see what's going on. We've had some technical issues. We're trying to learn a new platform. So if you guys could just hit up the chat, let us know you're in there. Let us know how we sound, how we look, how things are going. Really appreciate it because we got some cool stuff for you today and want to make sure that everything's coming through all right.
Real excited for today's show.
Yeah, me too.
Cannot wait. That's Corby Dayhoff. That's the guy that won the caption competition last week, isn't it?
Yeah, he comes over my house sometimes. We play some pool together. So I'm gonna have to. I got a
It was rigged
little
then,
gift
huh?
for him here. No, no, no.
Did you give him the break jump cue yet that he won last week or not? Or are you
PK Rush.
saving that?
No. Corby didn't win that. Someone in LA won it, and I just shipped it out yesterday because I was out of town for a few days. You guys know that, so
Okay. So we are actually live then, are we? I've been
yeah.
waiting so long. You know, the clocks have gone forward here, so it's even more stupider clock here. It's stupider o'clock in the UK. Just gone 2 a.m. And, well, I might as well tell you what's coming up, hey? We've got another packed show for you tonight, as we're going to bring to you every single week. That is the aim. We're going to mix it up. We're going to have lots of different fun features. We're going to introduce new guests every single week, and this week is no exception. We are going to have, well, we have an amateur champion for you, the APA champion, Jason Sheerman. He'll be coming up very, very shortly. We also have a multiple world champion in 3 different Q sports, Kelly Fisher, of course, Dame Kelly Fisher, as I like to call her now. And, well, there's lots more stuff coming up. We've got a jump off actually this week between Venom and, can you believe, one of the owners of Town Chalk, that chalk that everyone's raving about now, the pyro, all the snooker players are using it, the top 16 are using it, pool players are using it. Well, he's going to use that. He's going to be using that chalk on his tip to be jumping in a jump off against Venom in a very, very bizarre and strange way. So cannot wait for that. And guys, the big story of the week, of course, is the Matchroom Predator Champions League competition. It was, well, it's got some different views. There's a lot of different opinions on it. So we're going to be getting your opinions as well in the chat. We want to know if you've got any questions for any of the guests tonight. Please put them in the chat. There you see it. It's up on the screen. Please try and be nice because everyone is reading it. So so keep it clean.
We can handle a little not nice, Mark. We'll be all right.
Yeah, Molina Mike's the man with the muscle. Molina Mike's money matches with the muscle as well. He brings it all to this show. He is the security on the show. And also, well, actually, I'm going to let you, Mike. Who else have we got coming on the show? Now, I know this guy is special to you.
We're hoping we can get Chip on here. We had some technical difficulties, as you said, but either way, yeah, we're going to be talking about the match with Tony. He just had some news coming up about a match that should be coming up soon involving Chip and Tony. So lots to get into, lots to talk about. Looking forward to hearing from everybody. So yeah, let's jump into it, boys. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And don't forget also, we have our caption competition coming up as well. We've got a winner for you, and it's another hand down the trousers scenario. But next week we're not going hand down the trousers, or are we? It could be involving the man on your screen there, Mr. Joey Ryan. He got caught in a very compromising position, didn't you?
Mark, I'm wondering, how many pictures can you find with people in their hands in their pants? I just don't understand.
I'm
How do
just
you do it?
asking people to tag me in them. But let's just keep them coming. Hands down the pants. That's all we're interested in.
Oh, jeez.
Classy show here, boys.
We'll keep it going.
Okay. So, what do you reckon then, guys? Shall we try and get Jason in?
Yeah, let's see.
Bring him in.
I'm getting a little bit of a connection issue here, but let's see if he's in there. Jason, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Let me see if it's coming up. I don't know if you can see me or hear me.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
see you.
everything's coming in
Yeah.
clear.
I
Yeah.
can't hear Mark, but I can definitely hear Joey.
That's okay. We don't need Mark for this segment anyway. This is about the U.S. Amateur Championship, okay? So, Jason, congratulations on an amazing victory in the U.S. Amateur Championship. I think you beat 119 players. I think you were undefeated, and you played some tough. That field was tough.
Yeah,
And
it was the entire tournament was very stacked with a lot of great players.
yeah, and one of the first things I have to ask you, because for years, every year would come around and I'd think, should I go to that thing? And then I'd look at the payouts and there are no payouts. So
Right.
what was your motivation for entering that event? I'm curious.
Man, that trophy is incredible. I'm not even gonna lie. The event is so prestigious, and I've always had a couple of friends of mine that have participated and won or participated and fought hard in that tournament. And they always say it's such a tough tournament for pride and enjoyment of the game, and of course to be on that stage and maybe potentially win that nice marble trophy with your name on it, in a placard forever.
So is it really an amateur tournament though? Because when I look through the list of players, you're in it, a bunch of other really good players. A buddy of mine, Brett Stottlemyre from the Maryland area, is in it. He's a great player. Del Sim.
There's so many good players. It's really hard to distinguish, that amateur, open, pro, semi-pro, the distinction of where does everybody lie. And all I can say is I think that unless you're winning all these, or winning a continuous amount of open pro events across the United States, then I would think you're pretty much eligible amateur.
Yeah.
Unless you're podium finishing against the top players here in the United States or even worldwide, I would think that, you have the potential to be a U.S. amateur champion.
So you're sponsored by Mez, is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about that? And
yes, Mez Cues is my primary sponsor for everything cues and equipment, and it's awesome. Everything is great. I'm so lucky to be a part of their group, and I can't complain about anything. They've taken care of me in every way. It's awesome.
Yeah, and your record from that event, I think I wrote it down here somewhere. It's pretty impressive. It was, what did I tell you? It was 60 wins and 30 losses throughout the entire event. I mean, you were blowing a lot of people away. Was it just one of those things where you were just on and everything was clicking throughout the whole tournament, or how did it play out?
Man, I'll tell you, you never think that you're going to go ahead and play well in any event. Even if you're practicing well and you get to the place and you feel good, you never know how the outcome is really going to be, because there were so many matches during that tournament that I faced it, like a deficit or somebody opening up and playing smart and tough. And, it was a battle, definitely a battle on each and every match. So you never know if you're going to just turn around and have a great performance. You just got to keep fighting and keep practicing and keep doing all the right things.
Yeah, we got some chat coming in. We got Del Sim says you're the beast, and Dominic Dunn's asking if we can touch on how great you play 8-ball.
So, I played 8-ball for a long time. Prior, to this tournament, I didn't show my best 8-ball game for sure. But, it's one of those days, maybe my mind wasn't thinking properly about playing the game of 8-ball, or, how maybe the double game sets, they play a little different mindset on how to strategically pick whether you break or whether you play 8-ball or 9-ball, so it's definitely a strategic matchup.
Hey, Sheerman, can you hear me?
Can you hear Mike?
I can't hear Mike, I don't think.
Okay, we'll hold Mike off for a second. Sorry, Mike. Mike, type your question in, and I'll get it to Jason. So, Jason, I don't know if you remember, but I guess it was 2017. We were both in the BCA Platinum, and we were like a few tables apart every round, and we were both going deep in that tournament. And I remember just looking over and saying, man, he's a good player. And so I have a good friend of mine in the Tampa area, and I messaged him and I said, hey, the dungeon there, Dominic's place, I'd love to come down and match up with somebody. Maybe that guy, Jason Sheerman, or maybe Nathan Rose or somebody like that, who I think won that event the year before or something. And
I think he did, actually.
yeah, my friend Dave was like, he said, listen, no offense, but Jason Sheerman plays really good. So in other words, he was hurting your actions. Yeah.
No,
So
I've always heard good things about your game through friends of ours here in Florida when you were traveling through too. So I can only say that I'm sure it would be a good match either way.
oh, I appreciate that, and I'm sure you're stealing. But tell us real quick about the finals, because it's kind of legendary. People, it's already kind of urban legend, that you did not start well. And how did that match play out?
I'm sorry. If there's every time you want to be in the finals and end up with a victory, you want to make it a big story, right? That wasn't my plan, but that's fortunately crazy how it happened. Man, I just didn't start in the finals in the right maybe mindset, or didn't need, or whatever happened. I was just, I couldn't focus properly on playing 8-ball the way I'm supposed to play 8-ball, and I let him get way ahead, and he earned it. He played well and made all huge opportunity of every chance at the table.
Yeah. So one thing that I've come to learn is that Jeremy Jones is just an amazing commentator. I had Sky Woodward on my podcast, and I asked him, about Jeremy Jones. He said he's a genius,
Man,
and I was just going to say, like, what is it like knowing that he's there commentating your match? Someone with his stature. Tell us about that.
So it's kind of funny, right? So I was able to not let it get into my mind really much at all, because I was lucky enough able to listen to the commentary about the women and my wife competing in matches prior, in days prior. So like I could hear how well his commentary was positive towards every player. So you would never think negatively in your mind while you're playing in a match, because he's so good with words and commentary and educational speaking, and he's awesome. So like it was one of those ways that because of his excellent commentary, I was able not even to think of it in my mind that anything would be negative, or if maybe I'm not shooting the right shot, or maybe I should play safe or shoot, or second ball break instead of head ball break. I never would think, because he was so good with his commentary.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your wife did really well also, right? She finished second to Jeannie Seaver. Is that correct?
Yes, what an incredible tournament for the women too. It was a great field and turnout, and man, so many deserving women were there. And fortunately, my wife was fighting hard and was able to make it to the finals and have a double chance at playing Jeannie. And she came up short, but she was fighting hard, and she can't wait to be back there again.
Did you get a chance to sweat many of her matches, or were you busy playing, or how did that play out?
So I arrived in the later part of Thursday, I believe, and I was able to catch like her semifinals winners side, I think, or maybe it was the semifinals, the winners, the hot seat match. So I got to watch her last few matches, and it was cool to be able to be there and support her in her later part of her tournament too.
That's awesome. So you're the U.S. amateur champion. And so I guess it begs the question, like, what's next for you? I know you have a full-time job, but what do you want to do with pool from here? What are some of your goals?
Of course, I can't wait to participate in my opportunity that APA is providing me from winning the U.S. Amateur Championships in 2022. My goal is just to keep participating in as many open, pro, amateur, any events that allow me to play and win, or fight hard to win or compete in, alongside with my sponsor MSQs and the nice things they provide me to play with. Just enjoy learning and playing.
Yeah, so Molina Mike wasn't able to speak to you in here, but I have a feeling what he was going to ask you about it. I think he was going to ask you about that match against Donnie Mills. Tell us about that match real quick.
Man, what a match. Donnie is a very great player, and I've played him multiple times here in Florida. And he's always gotten the best of me, and he's always been a tough competitor. and he's likely to win any tournament that we have in the area for our regional area. And even when he travels out of state, he's a super competitive guy. So I'd asked a few players in the state, and no time frames were difficult with some other players, and so I just was able to work out the time frame, as difficult or not difficult it may have been, to get Donnie to play, with his rules and normal rules and participant the place. And of course I want to support Dominic Dunn and the Dungeon and all the things they do for Florida Pool. So I was trying to get a match specifically there. That way, we could have a nice stream, good or bad playing wise, but at least it would be fun there. And the table broke tough, and it worked out to my advantage because both of us didn't break very well. And so it came down to, table play. And that day I was the better table player. But if he gets his break working, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you're looking at the chatter that's coming in, but just so many positive comments that people are making here about you, Jason. And I'd love to invite you on Pool Player Podcast to do like one of the long format interviews, because you're exactly the type of person that needs to be out there promoting pool. That like
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you run into people all the time, and it's like, maybe that's kind of a stain on the sport or a black eye. And then you run into others and you say, no, these are the people that we need to promote. So I'd love to have you on Pool Player Podcast sometime.
Yeah, man, just, whenever we'll get together, I'm sure we can make that happen. It's no problem. I'll make my accommodating time,
That's awesome, man.
Help the stream or even pool here, Florida, or in the amateur, or however, I don't mind.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know it's pushing 9:30 there, and you wake up at what time?
Yeah, I get up right around 4 or right at 4, and for work every day. And it's a long 12-hour day, but I've been doing it for many years, so it's pretty normal for me.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, you get some rest. Thanks so much for coming on. Best of luck in the future. We're going to try to get Mark and Mike back, see if we can get them communicating. So thanks, Jason.
The difficulties, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Ms. Q's, and thank you, Joey Ryan, and the podcast and everything for what you guys are doing.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. All right, so let's bring back Molina and
great interview. Way to hold it down, Joey.
What
hey.
a guy! What a guy!
Yeah, totally legit. And you see it coming in the chat. People are saying just upstanding dude, hard worker, great for the game. And I think that's
I would
awesome.
have put a little bit more heat on him. I would have asked him some tougher questions, but you did a good job, Joey.
Yeah, that's why we were locked out, Mike. We didn't want our questions being asked.
He knew it. He knew it. Yeah,
he did know it. He knew it. He knew it. Yeah,
yeah.
He reminded me of Chris Robinson in a way. His dedication, and he's such a gentleman, a real future ambassador for the sport. If he isn't one already, I might say. And I really wanted to ask him about that 9-ball, but unfortunately, technology didn't allow us what he was thinking when his opponent missed that 9-ball to allow him to get back to Hill, and then eventually winning it, of course. Terrific competition. And am I right in thinking that there was no prize money in that? It was just pure bragging rights, pure honor to hold that?
Yeah, like he said, it's a trophy. And I want to say it used to be that if you won that tournament, I think you got paid entry into the U.S. Open. I don't know if that's still the case. If you guys in the chat know, let me know, because I think he kind of referenced that when I was talking to him. Perhaps. I think that used to be the case. What do you think, Mike? Do you know?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of experience following the amateur championships. I know my buddy Blake Baker's won it before, and he's a hell of a player. Has done well in open events too, just like Sheerman. I had the pleasure of meeting Jason along with Dom and Jen and a few others from Florida out at Derby. Not this year, obviously, but last year. Absolute gentleman, plays with class, and it takes a lot to go and get a game with Donnie. Not just having the skills, but a lot to go and make it happen. So
a lot to fade, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You did a good job there, buddy.
Awesome. Well, some of the chats coming in, yes, he does get his choice of entry into the U.S. Open or a pro event. And his wife, Julia, which, by the way, awesome name, Julia. That's my daughter's name. It's funny. I have a son, Micah, a son, Ezra, both biblical, and then Julia, named after Julia Roberts, my wife's favorite actress. So, but thanks for stopping by and commenting. We really appreciate that. What do we got next, Mark?
Yeah, sorry about that. I just dropped my pen. I do love a pen and I love a microphone. Two things in life that keep me happy. The third thing, of course, is a pool cue. But what I love even more than those two things is a caption competition. And we're going to touch on the CLP, of course, a little bit later on. And the picture this week that we asked for a caption for, hopefully you're going to, there it is up on the screen. It's looking very Fedor-esque. There is
Fedor
a
2.0.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a theme, isn't there, beginning to take shape here. And so each week we're going to do a caption, and that is this week's caption. And what a great guy he was. And guy, if you will just bear with me just for a second, I've been practicing my impression of Naoki Oi. Okay, he's such a great guy in his interviews afterwards, and I just sort of wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. And, Predator, they asked me come play CLP. Yeah, D everywhere, D. Too many, hill. Oh, so tired. No noodle, no beer. Go room, get beer, come back down, drink with you. We all have beer. We have good time. Yes, champion, no problem. D.
Oh boy.
You know.
All right, Mark.
Right, so let's go to the main reason that we're talking about Naoki Oi, of course, apart from him just being a fantastic guy on the table and off the table. We did put up that picture. If you could just put up that picture again for us, not that one, please. The other one.
Naoki.
That's the one. That's the one we like looking at. So we had a few entries, but we narrowed it down between us. And I do believe that the winner is actually in the chat as we speak.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Del Sim said...
The skyscraper.
Exactly, the Scottish skyscraper. And he actually said he's looking for his fortune cookie. And eventually, when he found it, he pulled it out and cracked it open. And it said, "Man who have hole in trousers feel cocky all day."
Oh boy.
We're pushing the envelope there, Mark.
Oh, jeez.
We've got to push them envelopes. We've got to push them envelopes. So Del Sim wins whatever. And Joey Ryan decides to give him probably a block of chalk or something like that. Just don't get down your trousers, Joey.
Eventually, somebody from the UK has to win, so I don't have to give away all the prizes, you know? But yeah, we'll take care of you, Del. If you're still in there, we're going to hook you up and send you something, so I'll message you and get your address there.
Yeah, so there we go. And we're going to post another caption. Hopefully, it's going to be of Joey Ryan next week for next week's caption competition. So keep an eye on the Booth Brothers Facebook page for that. Still to come, of course, we've got Chip. He's coming along very, very soon, I believe. Could even be next, is it? But I think before that, Joey, I think you want to do something about one of our sponsors.
Yeah, I do. And, we're not sure about Chip, so we might have to postpone Chip till next week. He's in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and he's riding high after that victory with Tony Chohan. I think he was on the golf course today and playing some golf. So hopefully he'll pop back in, but it's no guarantee. But I definitely want to talk about that match. And I know Mike's got some good insights on that. So before we do, though, I just want to point out the Board Lock Picker is a YouTube channel who is sponsoring this show. And he also sponsors other events, some of Roy's Baseman's events. And all he asks is that you go to his channel and you subscribe. Pretty easy thing. The guy supports pool. He loves pool. And so do me a favor, go over to Board Lock Picker, subscribe. It may even help you out one day. May save you some money if you ever get locked out of something. He's got all these videos of picking different locks and all kinds of stuff like that. And he's actually a pool player that I used to play against back when I lived in Jacksonville, Florida. So in honor of Board Lock Picker, we're going to pick our locks of the week. And this week, we're not letting Molina Mike get away with not making a pick, which he tried to do last week. He was like, well, maybe we'll
put
wait
me on the spot again like 5 minutes before we go on. And you're like, oh, by the way, I hope you're ready.
It's a weekly segment, bro.
I can't remember what I ate for dinner last night. And you want to think I'm going to remember from last week. But let's
well,
I'm good.
I'll start. I got a good one. And I'm not claiming to have any inside information. I live in Arizona, But there's a huge tournament coming up this week in Alabama. You know about that, don't you, Mike?
I swear, if you steal my pick, oh man. Go ahead.
I am picking Scott Frost to win the one pocket outright.
Oh, well, now we can make a little friendly wager there because I was gonna go ahead and have a my lock pick of the week be on the one pocket, and it wasn't gonna be the freezer. So we can
Okay.
have a little friendly wager because I'm gonna have to go with Mr. RoboCop himself, the one pocket master, the grandmaster. Some might
Wow.
say he's number one in the world. Some might say he's number two, but I'm going with Dennis. Yeah.
You're really going out on a limb there, let me tell you.
Wow.
It's called a lock. You want me to go and say what?
Let me remind you when we did the one pocket power rankings that Dennis was what number? It was 1 and 1A between him and Alex, right? He was 2, but it could have been either way. But yeah, no, I appreciate you making a pick, Mike. Mark, what do you got this week? You got any stone cold locks?
My lock of the week is Fedor Gorst to beat anyone who you put in front of him because he's just
30.
unbeatable at the moment. He is just unbeatable. I'd like to know who you guys and who you guys in the chat also, who would you love to see come up against Fedor Gorst? And in reality, will it happen within the next couple of months? That's what I want to see. Fedor Gorst really play somebody like Filler or Van Boning or somebody like that. I want to really see him put against somebody and put to the test and see just how good he is. I know how good he is, but how good is he really?
I got a message. I think it was maybe Saturday night, and it was from Shane. He was asking for the update on Bergman and Fedor match, and I told him the score. And he said nobody's beating him. He's the best 10-ball player on earth. He'd bet on Fedor against Dennis. I don't know what interest, if any, Shane has in playing him. They both got.
We've lost Molina Mike for some reason. Joey, it's when you went out and come back in again. What's happened?
Yeah. Molina, drop out and come back in, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We lost Molina, but I'm dying to hear what he was about to say. But I'll tell you who I want to see. I want to see Fedor play against the top Asian players like Wu. I want to see him play against the Ko brothers. I think that would be awesome. Let's see if Mike's
Mark,
back. Can you hear us,
me?
Mike? Yeah, we can hear you.
We got you.
Can you hear us?
Joey? I think we might have lost Joey, but I can hear you, Mark. But yeah, I don't know how much you're able to go and catch of it. But like I said, yeah, I heard from Shane on Saturday night. Yeah, he was saying no one's going to go and beat Fedor's playing 10-ball. I'd have to go and agree. They both got killer breaks. I think that Fedor's position play and his pocketing ability might be better than Shane's at this point of his career. When you talk about top tier players, you really start splitting hairs. But for Shane to go and say it, and again, this was privately, so this wasn't like he was fishing to go and make a game with Fedor.
Fishing, really, I like fishing. I like that. He loves a bit of fishing.
Yeah, he does, and that was no pun intended, by the way. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't trying to build up his ego to go and try to get a game is what I meant, And for him to go and say it, it says a lot about the respect that he has for Fedor's game. And the crazy part is that he's so young, like he's not even in his prime yet. So, what a monster he's gonna be. It was just dominating. I mean, from start to finish. 9-ball with the template can get a little bit gaffy, but just because the layouts can kind of be similar, you kind of guarantee balls going in. But yeah, I for that dominating performance of a player against Bergman and what I think about his game, really says a lot about where Fedor is in the grand scheme of things. And I agree with you. He's going to have to play somebody bigger. I don't think there's going to be a lot of guys chomping at the bits to go and try to get a match with them just because of how dominating he has been.
I just think that Fedor Gorst at the moment is the most complete player there is. He's got terrific temperament. I mean, it's like he never hears anything. He never sees anything other than the table, the shot that he's got. His technique is second to none. And I really mean that, second to none in the world. Everything he does is just beautiful perfection. He misses less than anyone else. I know that may sound a stupid thing to say, but he does miss less than everyone else. And
It's a credit to his
one of the big
fundamentals.
reasons, it's his fundamentals, and it's the way he strokes the ball, and he always gives the ball every single chance to fall, and he's just brilliant in every department. And I honestly think, even people in the chat are talking about Joshua Filler or Dennis or SVB playing him. I honestly think
I don't
this
think
is.
Dennis. I've heard I've heard rumblings of Fedor barking for Dennis, and I don't blame him for doing so. I mean, a couple other guys too, but I think there's a possibility that match may happen. Dennis is like known to be the big dog in the park, so to speak. The money game king. He doesn't fear anybody. I'd be surprised if Dennis turns it down. I don't know how easy it would be to get staked in that game for any significant amount of money. I just don't know of guys that are willing to put up a lot of money betting against Fedor. You can go and say that maybe the guys he's played recently haven't necessarily been to Dennis's standard. But I don't think Justin would fear playing Dennis. I mean, I could be wrong, but and again, it all depends on the game.
And exactly. You say that, Molina, right? But it puts somebody else in front of him, and he might even play better. You're only going to play as good as you need to play to beat the player in front of you, right? If you put somebody better in front of him, I reckon he can raise his game even more. I think he's an absolute monster, beautiful monster.
It remains to be seen because he's been such a front runner in his last few money matches. We haven't seen Fedor go and play with some heat on his ass. You haven't seen him go and play from behind. It's easy and things are great whenever you're free stroking and you're ahead by 10 games. Granted, you put in a lot of work on and off the table to go and get to that point, right, to achieve that in that match. But I want to see what he's like under adversity. Now, he's a champion and a world champion, and there's nothing to go and that word kind of gets thrown out a lot, but he is the epitome of a world champion. He's won that event, so I want to give him all the respect that he deserves, but I want to see the kid whenever he's got someone, across from him that has as big of a break, that has as good of potting ability like he does, as good a fundamental. Well, I don't think anyone's got as good a fundamentals, but I want to see him when he's got some pressure on him. And names can go and put the heat on him, not just the game, because I think if you go and put Shane in front of him, his legs might shake a little bit because it's Shane. That's one of his idols, so but
I think there's one person or maybe two that he would maybe be a little bit apprehensive about playing, and I might surprise you with one of them. The first one is going to be Joshua Filler, of course. I think he could really test him. I really do think he could test him. But also, I think Fedor Gorst would love that, and he would raise his game to it. Yeah. Another one who might intimidate him slightly is, of course, Jason Shaw. What do you reckon to Jason Shaw playing him?
Man, I don't know. And I know those are his Mosconi Cup teammates. When it comes to 10 ball, I think Filler's got a shot. Jason's got a big 10 ball break too, but he's got his own business. I don't know how much time he's putting in on the pool table. Whenever you have a business and you got a family, you got enough things taking up your time, whereas Filler's just a machine. He don't got any kids, so he's just there hitting balls all day long, and him and his wife. So I think Filler would probably be a closer matchup. I know that there was some talk about Fedor and Kachi maybe happening. I think that'd be interesting because Kachi's known to have a big 10 ball break. They're both young. And I mean, listen, a lot of the young European players all like to go and gamble. So it's like there's going to come a point where they're going to have to start playing each other because they're all monsters. Either that or go, call Chang out, call Anton out, and there's a few guys that are in that same tier.
Anton Raga, there's a good one, right?
Yeah, he's got a killer 10 ball break.
Yeah.
He doesn't go and travel over to the U.S., but I guarantee you he's one of the top, I'd say 3 to 5 10 ball players on earth, and I think he's the equivalent of Chang, equivalent of Shane in that Fedor category. So I think it's going to be good. But yeah, I don't know how much it would go and happen when it comes to Shane and Fedor. But it would be a great match. The fans would love to go and see it, especially now because Fedor's been as dominating as he is. We want to see another American go and challenge him, and I think Shane's the only one that can go and do it on this side, of the pond, so to speak.
Nice thoughts and some well, some really mouth-watering prospects there, isn't there? And we only just started mentioning, we just mentioned him in passing there, Fedor Gorst, and all of a sudden we have a 15-minute conversation about him, because that's just the draw of the guy. He's just absolutely amazing. So we have lots more, and hopefully Joey's going to come back in. We've got some nice videos coming up for you, hopefully. Are they ready to roll, Joey? Are they?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me, Molina? Are we good? Yeah.
I can
All
hear you,
right.
buddy.
Well, before I go to the videos, I have to get my little say in on Fedor, okay? Because, the sick thing is that what he just did was to Justin Bergman. I mean, that guy just plays amazing. And after the break, probably one of the best players in the world, best cue ball. And, I turned it on the other night, and it's like a 20-game lead. It's just unbelievable. And, there's a lot of people that were commenting and saying, well, if it was, if you take the break out of it, that Justin was right there with him, I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, Justin's a fabulous player, but Fedor is just from another planet right now. It's unbelievable. So I just had to get that in.
One of the best rotation players on earth, if not the best right now. I don't know if there's too many that are playing him like him. And I don't care what the game is, 9-ball or 10-ball, 1 on the spot or 9 on the spot. You're going to have your hands full whenever you go and play Fedor. And, yeah, I mean, it's sick. It's sick, man.
Yeah. Nice way to, and if you could just cue those videos up. Just would like to say, Joey, a quick hello to a few people in the chat. Dominic Dunn, of course. We've got Roberto, Franco. Good evening, guys. Carl Short is in the room. Also, Kenneth Felton. Monk. Hello, Monk. Mr. Monk, one of my favourite detective series from the US. Adrian Monk. Oh, he had OCD, didn't he? He was a crazy one. And, of course, Marvin Taboda. How you doing, Marvin? Always see him popping up on my Facebook. Now then, you might have seen last week's show. If you didn't, head across to the Booth Brothers and take a look at last week's show. Not now, of course, but afterwards at your leisure. We had the tremendous Florian Venom Cola on the show, and he was a terrific guest, spent a long time with us. And we were talking about different shots and that he makes. We were talking about world records that he holds, the Guinness World Records. And one of them was for jumping balls into the pocket, 15 balls into a pocket. So then I came across a friend of mine, Jonas Ottoman, who is also one of the owners of Town Chalk and Town Tips. Sorry, not chips. I've got chips on the brain, haven't I, tonight? Where is Chip? Has he fried himself? You don't call chips, do you? You call them French fries, don't you? Chips are crisps, aren't they? Anyway.
French fries.
So, yeah, French fries. So, Jonas Ottoman also held a world record for jump shots, but his was slightly different. I'm not going to say any more. So what do you think, Joey, about just running these clips?
You want the Venom one first?
Yeah, let's go Venom first for his world record attempt jumping 15 balls.
Here we go, guys.
You will not believe this.
For the fastest time to jump pot 15 pool balls. The record to break was 6.78 seconds. In today's attempt, you achieved 5.69 seconds. Wow. So you've smashed the Guinness World Records title. Thanks. Congratulations. Thank you.
Just insane, guys, isn't it? 15 balls in less than 6 seconds jumping into the side pocket. Unbelievable. I mean, you don't even get to see him chalking his cue in between. He's so quick. How quick is he chalking his cue in between shots?
It makes me want to never pick up a jump cue ever again after seeing that.
He was gaining momentum too. Like when he got halfway through, he like double timed it for the last few. Oh man.
Yeah. So I remembered meeting Jonas Ottoman in Bangkok last year, and I became a friend of his, and realised that he's the town guy, and we are going to have him on the show very, very soon, by the way, guys. Just going to spring that on you now. And he himself held a world record for jumping also, but it wasn't normal jumping. Have a look at this and have a look. What do you reckon to that, Mike?
When do you ever think I'm gonna practice that shot? That's because I'm having a hard enough time getting over the balls when I'm normally going and jumping. So when does it go into your brain to think, hey, let me try this backwards. Let me try this with my hand behind my back.
Well, obviously on those shots where you got to lean over the side of the table, Mike. I mean, come on. You've seen those behind the back. The Filipinos do the behind the back all the time. You know, it's just another weapon in your arsenal.
Yeah, so I want to do it live on the show now. I want to throw the challenge out to Florian. I know he's a fan of the show. And Florian, I'm saying it now. I want you to try the behind the back jump shot. 15 balls behind your back. Can you jump them in less than 14.6 seconds? There's the challenge thrown out to you. If you make it, send us the video and we'll chuck it on the show for you sometime. What do you think about that?
I love it. I love it. So where are we at, Mark? We going on to fun facts today, or what are your thoughts?
Should we do some fun facts? I think we should, shouldn't we? We'll do a couple.
Yeah. Okay.
Go on then, you can start. Have you got them there ready?
I got one here. Tom Cruise did his own billiard trick shots for the 1986 film The Color of Money. I mean, what did that movie do for pool? It was amazing. Except for one in which he had to jump 2 balls to sink another. Director Martin Scorsese said he wanted to let Cruise learn the shot, but it would have taken 2 extra days of practice, which would have held up production and cost thousands of dollars. The shot was instead performed by professional billiards player Mike Siegel. Wow. And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, Grady Seasons from that, Keith McCready, I used to play him probably two to 3 times a week in tournaments in the DC area. And I've been in conversation with having him on Pool Player Podcast. I'd like to get him on here and talk about that movie, you know.
Hold on. What? Yeah. Which one is it? Is it the Color of Money or the Hustler? Which one do you guys prefer?
Color of Money for me.
Color of Money for me as well.
I'm out of here.
You're a traditionalist, aren't you, Mike?
I am, man. There's nothing better than the Hustler.
Hey, you know what's funny is that Ricky Schroeder one, I forget the name of it now, but he was using like what looks to be like a graphite shaft, you know, like something that back then we would all laugh at, and now everybody's, you know, switched over to carbon fiber, you know.
I just want to go to the chat quickly, guys. There's a couple of questions here. I just want to say there's an announcement by a guy called Jeff Ball who says April the 30th, SVB versus Fedor Gorst, and Fedor Gorst is in the room as well. Fedor Gorst is just joining.
Exhibition is playing. I don't think they're gambling, but they're playing a 10-ball set, I think. And for that BSN event, it's right before it. So, but that'll be a great match. Fans are going to want to see it. So.
Yeah, that's the Billiard Sports Network Dynaspheres Cup. Being run out in Maryland. It's a full field already. I'm on the wait list for it, so who knows? I might be flying out there. If so, Fedor, I'm going to call winners with you and Shane, okay?
Can we have betting on? Do they need some commentators? Do they need any commentators for it? We've got the Booth brothers here. There's 3 of us. We'll jump in the booth, no problem.
Well, you know, Dell Sims.
I think Dell. I'll say it. Yeah, Dell does a lot on there. He does a great job. Great.
Yeah. He's a terrific commentator. One of my favorites. Him, Carl Boys is great. By the way, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later also. And there's a question from Jason Kesdorf. He asks, anyone know what's next for Danny Olsen? Well, actually, it's funny you asked that because next week we are going to have Chad Shoulders on, who is one of Havoc's players. So we are going to have
a lot of guys who want to play Danny. I'm looking forward to asking Chad about it because I know of a lot of players that want to go and play Danny right now.
Yeah, right after that Chris Robinson match, my messages were blowing up because I was commentating that match. Like, hey, I want a shot at him. So you're right, Mike. I'm not going to throw out names, but there's a lot of people that want a shot at him because they saw how impressive that performance was, and I guess they feel like they'd match up pretty well against him. And so that I tell you what, though, after watching what he did in that match, for anybody to want to step up and play him, other than like Fedor or Shane or somebody like that, I mean, that takes a lot of courage because he played just a dominating race to 100 against Chris. I mean, it was just dominating.
Yeah,
I think that he's got a lot of he's got a bunch more players he can go and play before he ever gets in the box with any of those top tier guys. But I agree with you. I love Danny's game. He's got a big break, which I told you about, Joe. I went out on a limb, right, and told you how big of a break he's got. But no, he's a hell of a player, and like I said, I'm looking forward to next week because I'm gonna put Chad on the spot, so to speak, and see what he thinks about a few guys that want to go match up with this horse.
Yeah, he's actually got a big announcement too. I think he might be adding a player to his stable out there. So
wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So
next week we will have Chad Shoulders on the Booth Brothers show next week. That is guaranteed already. Still to come on this one, of course, we have Kelly Fisher, fresh from, okay, she didn't win it, but it was certainly a triumph in the Matchroom Predator Paul CLP tournament this week. Everyone's talking about it, and we are going to be talking about it very, very soon. I'm just going to do one quick fun fact for you. Then we're going to go over to Mike, who's going to give us the lowdown on the one pocket. And I hope you've got my picture ready because I've redesigned the one pocket pool table. So hopefully you're all going to get a look at that. Just before, did you know that the dome on the Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home, it concealed a billiard room in Jefferson's day? And billiards was actually illegal in Virginia. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Well, you do now. This isn't just entertainment. This is education. Your children watch this. They can do history. They can learn stuff from this show as well, hopefully.
I could have given him a 7 for sure. So, I wonder how good he played. You know,
Molina Mike, we were going to have Chip. I mean, Chip's been in the chat, but he's having a few. He's out in Oklahoma somewhere, out in the sticks, I think he said, and his internet isn't great. He said there's no Wi-Fi anywhere, but I know you were there, and thanks so much for getting him. We will have him on next week, maybe, if we can sort him out, if we can drag him away from Oklahoma. I know he's been on the golf course today, and
we'll get him in a hotel.
Yeah, we'll get him somewhere in the future. So please, can you give us the rundown on the big one pocket that he played this week against Chohan?
Yeah, he was playing against Tony, and Tony came in ironically enough to betting favorite. It's hard to go find guys that want to go bet on Chip outside of Oklahoma for whatever reason. But man, I've been really impressed with Chip's game over the last, let's say year. If there was ever a knock I can go and say on Chip, it'd be his pocketing ability. When I showed up day one, Chip was I think it was the day before they started. Chip was hitting balls and playing the guy, and it was on the table that they were going to be playing at, and I knew right away Tony was going to be up against it. Chip was just pocketing the ball so fluidly, and I know that it was a little bit tighter of a table, but it was playing pretty generous. Now, you can go and say that Chip's getting 9-8, but man, I don't know. I heard that they're going to be playing even soon, within the next month or so in New Orleans at Buffalo's, and it's going to be even. So we'll see how that goes. But Chip dominated. I mean, I know that Tony he went back and forth, and there was a little bit of haymakers. But I remember being there, and it was day one. I went to go see Manny Chow. He was playing some banks, and he was asking me about it. And I said, man, it's weird. And this is at 6-6. I said, it's tied up right now, but it just feels like Chip's been in control, like from the eyes. The score may go and say it's 6-6, but everything that I've seen is just waiting for Chip to go and take over, and he did. And, there was a little bit of gamesmanship, on day two. And that's part of Chip's game. But, he put up. He didn't shut up,
So, Mike, is it fair to say that Chip is a slow starter? Because I know with Roberto Gomez the last time, Roberto jumped out on day one, was playing really well, and then Chip just kind of put the squeeze on him from there. And it sounds what are your thoughts?
I was sitting there talking with Tony, and Chip just told him, hey, man, you better have your lunch ready because it's going to be a long set. But it really wasn't, no day really drug on. It was actually less time than I expected each day, for a race to 9.
Chip can go and put the screws on you, you know. And if there's someone I want playing from behind for my money, it's Chip Compton, because from behind, I think he's one of the best players on the planet, you know. And he can play a lot of different ways. He's smart. It's that old saying, what is it, timed aggression, you know. Whereas Tony can kind of take flyers, and you get that with Tony, for better or worse. If you bet on Tony, you know that sometimes he's going to do some stuff and wow you, but then sometimes he's going to do some stuff and go and sell out whenever his timing is just a little bit off. But yeah, I mean, and Tony did play great. I mean, I remember day 2, there was a stretch where I think Chip won like 4 or 5 games to go and close the night, and it was like in 20 minutes. I mean, it was something ridiculous, you know. And it wasn't that Tony made a lot of mistakes during that stretch. It was just Chip, you know. What can you say?
Yeah. Well, I think the expression that you reference is One Pocket, a game of controlled aggression, Tom Worth's book that I recently picked up. And I'm really learning a lot from that book. So I'm not quite ready to play Chip. That guy's playing great. This match coming up with Chip and Tony, if they do play even, that has huge implications for the U.S. One Pocket landscape. You know, because right now, I mean, Tony's the top dog out of U.S. players, I think. And, you know, this Chip match, everybody can say, well, Chip was getting a ball. And so he played great, but he's still getting a ball. Well, now if Chip beats him even, I think we got to reevaluate. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier when it comes to these top tier players, you know, as far as just splitting hairs, right? You really just go pick apart their game, and it's not any kind of disrespect to them. But, you know, that's what you got to go and do whenever you're analyzing everyone's game. There's a lot of guys here in the States that can go and play one pocket, you know, and aside from Filipino players, which we know that they're all monsters. J Hall's one of them too. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's Chip dominated him in Oklahoma. Chip dominated Tony in Dallas, and Tony's not a dog, you know, and Tony's been playing good. It's one thing like if Tony's been playing bad or his head wasn't in it or whatever. And I remember when I showed up, Tony really wasn't hitting balls, but Tony just shows up and just plays amazing. You know, whereas Chip, he was putting in a little bit more work there and actually, you know, practicing some. But again, I don't know what Tony's regimen was like before I showed up, so I can't really speak to any of that. But yeah, I agree with you for sure. We're definitely going to have to go and think about where Tony lies in there if Chip goes and beats him again, even, you know. So
yeah. Hey, Mark, do you want me to show your one pocket table?
Yeah, well, I was hoping that Chip was going to come on because, you know, we're playing one pocket and we only need, although it's called one pocket, of course, we need 2 pockets. And I just thought, you know, the table manufacturers are missing a trick here. You know, they're wasting money on putting too many pockets on the table. So if you could just put my diagram up, I mean, I haven't scaled it or anything. I need to scale it, and it is a Funswick. It's a Funswick one pocket table. And there's just
didn't they have a game like that one time where like they decided to only play with just the 2 pockets, but it's a whole different game then.
Oh, you're saying that this has already been thought of? They say the best ideas have already been thought of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen that done somewhere. There was some room that had that table where they only had just 2 pockets, but when you talk about the wedge game and playing up table, that no pockets down there, it's a whole new game.
Yeah. Because there's so often when you run into a shot in one pocket, and it would be awesome to be able to bank the ball, but a side pocket's in the way, you know, or, you know, 2 rail a ball, but, you know, the corner pocket's going to cause you a problem. And so, but it didn't, I know Earl has talked about it for so long.
Well,
about
him and Darren played on a
side
table
pocket
with no side pockets, super gaffy, and I think it was heated. Everything that Earl wanted, they went and did it for him, and it was a diamond, and it was Darren Appleton. Darren smoked him. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Wow. That's a guest I'd like to get on the show. Mark, can you start working on Earl Strickland, please?
Yeah, I'll have a word with him. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll have him on within the next month. I guarantee it. I've heard he's looking for a new show to come on to and tell us about what he's going to be up to very, very soon. I think he might have something under his hat.
Well, you know, Robert in the chat says that Fedor is talking about taking over one pocket next. Well, if he does, he shouldn't do what Josh Filler did, which is go and play Tony Chohan right off the bat, right? If Fedor does perfect a one pocket game, there's a couple hundred people that be willing to give him a try before he gets up to the top echelon of U.S. players. So if you're still listening, Fedor, that's my advice to you. So
Okay, so well, thanks for that, Chip Molina. Thanks for that, Mike. Always a vast array of information comes out of that amazing head of yours. I just don't know where you keep it all. Honestly, I don't. I struggle to remember your two names, to be honest. Look, guys, it's time to talk about the big Matchroom event, and we've been gagging for some proper pool instead of the online stuff that we've been seeing. And I just thought I'd like to just run through very, very quickly, and then we'll discuss day one. Of course, Chris Melling won the group. Chris Robinson, your guy, went home. A long way to come, right? Just for one day's pool, and then finds himself going home. Day two, Suke was out. Catchy got through. David Alcade was the winner on day three. Appleton, your man there, Mike, went out on the first day for him also. Kelly Fisher, after a terrific run, bowed out on day four. Niels Fine was the one
It was
that
a
went
long
through.
event, right? It was like 7
It
days.
was,
One day.
yeah. We're 8 days, in fact, and we can have a right
It's a lot
good
of pool.
discussion about that, hopefully. And day five saw the explosion onto the scene of our friend Naoki Oi, of course. Started off with 2 opening matches. He served up more donuts in his first 2 matches than Krispy Kreme did, winning both of them 5-0. And then it was Albin Ocean, of course, after a very, very tough week, who qualified on day 6, and then, of course, day 7. But don't forget, also, we had Christina Takac coming in on day 5, and then Yasmin Ocean came in on day 7. So, guys, let me ask you a question. I think there is only one question to ask. Did you like the format, Joey?
okay, so I'm going to equate this to seafood. Okay, I don't like fish. I like shrimp and crabs. Okay, and one day I had a scallop, and I couldn't figure out for weeks whether I liked the scallop or not. And that's how I feel about this event, right? I mean, I love pool, and it was a lot of pool. It was a lot of pool. Okay, and I found it difficult to just the long days, being able to keep my attention between other things I had going on. And so I think I can really like it, but the format was so unique that I was just a little bit confused by it, and even like it came up earlier, I think when we were chatting today, Mike, I think it'll come up on the Kelly interview. Like even Kachi, I think, didn't understand. He thought he won a group and he didn't actually win the group. He had to do the playoff, And so kudos to Matchroom for doing this and for putting this out there. But it's just so unique for especially us US fans that it's just going to be a little bit of an acquired taste. I think it's going to take a little bit of time before we're like, yeah, I'm ready for that again. Actually a year. Next year, I'll be ready for that again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tried and tested formula, of course, that Matchroom have used in snooker. Now, the big difference between snooker and the pool game is almost every single overseas player that plays on the snooker tour actually resides and lives in the UK or very, very close.
Yeah.
So, and that was a big factor in this. I think it was why there wasn't many overseas players. Of course, COVID had something to do with it again, but
Yeah.
it does work. It's good, I think, and I've seen some really good comments. I've been following all the Matchroom pool forum and all the different pool groups that are on Facebook. The overall census is they love it, and I think part of that is because we haven't seen any proper live pool for a while. If this would have happened in normal times, maybe it wouldn't have been quite as well received. I think we were just gagging for anything and we would accept anything. But I think you're right, Joey. It went on too long, but I do honestly think with a few little tweaks, it can be part of the pool calendar, and this could grow into something really, really big as soon as we get over this COVID. What do you reckon to it, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, we're starved for pool, right? So I mean, anything we can go and get is going to be great. And I know I give them a little bit of shit when it comes to this event, and some of the things I posted online. I make no bones about it, But at the end of the day, I love seeing guys get a chance to go and compete. I wish there was more. What's the word I'm looking for?
And gals, Mike, and gals.
Yeah,
I thought
and girls.
that was
Yes. That's just the
coolest
figure of
part
speech.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just more transparency as far as how some of these guys are gone and picked. You know, guys who were in the first day, guys and girls who were in the first day, got a lot more swings at it than, let's say, someone who came in like a Jasmine on the last day. So I'm just curious as to that transparency when it comes to how they were chosen. You know,
I
because
think it was
some of these guys may maybe not get the same shake as everybody else, so to speak. So,
yeah.
but format wise, the race to five, it really makes everything intense pressure because you cannot go and make a mistake. Now, on the flip side of it, from what I understand anyway from watching it, it's just all you got to go and do is get into the top four, and I think that's just the goal because really winning that group for the day really doesn't mean anything. You can be the top of it for the overall round robin format, but you still got to go and play. So as long as or play the tournament style at the end of the day. So as long as you're in the four, you got to swing at it. So I think it's got a lot of potential. I'd be remiss if I didn't go and mention. I wish we had the players that were scheduled to go and be there for whatever reason, but I wanted to go and see. But it also opened up the door for other players, and glad that they got a shot as well. So Matchroom always does top shelf production. Hearing those guys do commentary and hearing a lot of the pros do commentary, which we don't get to listen to quite often, like Melling and Niels and a few others, it really made me go and appreciate their insight because that was something.
Right?
Yeah, that was something for me that as a fan I really, really enjoyed, was just getting some of those other guys in the box. As much as I love hearing Carl commentate, and I think he does an outstanding job, and no disrespect to him whatsoever, but yeah, it was great hearing those other guys. And yeah, I mean, 8 days is a stretch. I can never say like I want to see less pool. So I mean the amount of hours, really wasn't too much for me. Dom mentioned in there, bet 100 a match, and you'll see how glued you are from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's true. When you can go and get betting involved when it comes to pool, you're gonna have a vested interest into keeping track as to what's going on. So I know there was some issues with DAOs and things like that here in the States, but I mean, all in all, listen, my hat's off to Albin. He did a hell of a job. I remember telling my buddy the last day, I said it'd be poetic if Albin won it, just given like the way that it went for him throughout the week. So I couldn't be happier for him. He played his ass off, and congratulations.
Yeah, there was a well said. There was a terrific comment tonight on Facebook. Alison Fisher came out and gave her summing up of the Predator Matchroom event, and it's the best one I've seen. She said it just had everything that you saw, players going through every single emotion. You just mentioned Albin Ocean there, and Ocean went through every emotion, certainly did. Ended up apologizing one day for his behavior, and that guy played more pool than anyone. 52 matches he played, and you know what, he won more money than anyone else. And not only because he won it, David Alcaide, if he'd have beaten Albin in the final, he still wouldn't have made as much money as Albin Ocean made, because that was the way that the money was structured. And a lot of players were saying, oh, did Albin plan this? Did he not qualify on the first?
There's no way. It's so ridiculous. There's no way to go and plan that, to go and grind out race to 5 with top pros from all over the world. And my hat's off to David, because David can be an underdog, but every time you go and see David, he's in a final of some major matchroom event. So, and I think Oscar said he's one of the most underrated players on earth, and he is. David plays strong rotation, strong 9-ball.
Do you know, I honestly, until this event, didn't really give David the respect that he deserves. I didn't realize he was so good. I know he's won some quite big,
and under pressure too. Him and Albin handle moments really, really well, and that's super tough to go and do. I mean, I know there was a lot of talk about Albin's meltdowns and his attitude maybe, but there ain't no problem with that over here anyway. But it's how you perform when it's super tight and the lights are on and the fans are watching, and in big moments both those guys go and perform. It's a race to 5. So I mean, David could have won the next 3, but that day in that race, in that moment, that final, it was Albin's day.
Yeah, and it's very interesting as well, Mike and Joey, that this big thing in Europe now is about fit in body, fit in mind, keep fit for the task. And no one does more to keep fit than the Oceans, right? All they do is keep fit. That's their number one. And Albin, certainly, that really stood him in good stead for that week and it's got to say, 12, 13 hour days. That's a long time to be playing pool. Not a lot of rest in
That
between,
mental
aren't
game, man, to go and stay that sharp and that much attention, and to keep that same intensity. I mean,
Yeah, and it's not
it's
like a
incredible.
$20 entry fee tournament at your local pub. You know,
It's
I
only the
mean,
whole
like
world watching, right? No
the
big
whole
deal.
world watching the best players in a race
From
to
all over
5.
the world, right? Right, Mark?
One
Yeah.
mistake, and you know, I saw it in the matches that I watched. I saw it happen over and over again. Somebody's up 3-1, makes one simple mistake, and then
It's
it just
as
reverses on them. You know,
it's like losing serve in tennis. I mean, like once you lose serve in tennis, it can swing the other way so fast, and going and breaking serve. It's super difficult. But that's the genius of what they go and do matchroom. That is, with those small race to 5. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love long races to 9 or to 11 or 13, whatever, in a tournament format. But I love that 5 because it just every shot, and you see them because guys start off where they know they don't have that cushion anymore. They know it's going to be alternate break, and the break really was working well for a lot of them. I mean, there was a lot of balls going down in the break with the referee racket on the triangle. You don't always get to go and see that. So, yeah, I kind of like that nonstop pressure.
yeah, I was watching Suke against Forchunsky, and Suke's up 3-0. I go to the kitchen to grab a snack, and by the time I come back, it's 3-3. I mean, and I was only gone for like a minute, and it was just the way the momentum shifted so fast, and then Suke ended up losing that match on the day he was eliminated. So it was just a lot of pressure, and it was fun. I
Or
made
like
it.
you saw guys in the final one day and then out the next, or the final
Yeah,
one day and at the
Roberto
bottom the next. I
Gomez.
mean, it's
Roberto
crazy. Yeah.
Gomez could have won.
Unbelievable. That
Yeah.
9 ball he's missed. He should have been in the finals, and he's gone and missed a relatively easy 9 ball. By the way, just on your snacking, I've told you, stop snacking. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you, not weight-wise necessarily, but you're going to miss some great pulls. Stop
Well,
snacking, Joey. Stop
yeah,
snacking.
apparently. But Mike brought up Carl Boyce and the job he does behind the mic. And one thing I want to point out, if you guys haven't seen it, you got to check out his YouTube channel. He did a really cool behind the scenes video, and it was really neat. Did you guys check it out?
Yeah, but the one that starts in his car, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, and then he
it's good.
goes like
Very, very good.
backstage and like
He's great.
yeah, it was good. And it's funny because I want to start doing some of that type of thing. When I go, like Mike, when you went to see the Chip match and Tony, that'd be pretty cool. People want to see that, you vlogging your way up to the Chip Tony match and what happened there. So I don't know.
We're gonna do more of it. But I hear we got who do we got covering the CLP also tonight?
We've got Kelly Fisher, haven't we, coming up tonight? We've got a great interview with Kelly Fisher. Just, let's just touch on the women participating very, very quickly. I mean, Christina Tkach came in, first big event, visibly nervous. Of course she would be. First time in a matchroom event. I thought she was very unlucky. She equipped herself very, very well. There was lots of positive stuff being talked about her technique and her cue action. I think the only thing that let her down was, it was nothing that let her down because she can't help it. It's the first time in a big event like that. She deserves to be nervous. She was fantastic, and I cannot wait to see her play again. And then, of course, we had Jasmine come in on day 7. A bit of a no-win situation for her, really. She came in with Dennis Grabe, of course, from Estonia. And
underrated player too.
Yeah, absolutely underrated. Very, very good on the European tour.
He's on that cusp, I think, of being a Mosconi player. He's right there.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike? Funny you say that, because this COVID, I think, has affected him more than anyone. He had a really, really good season the last time they played the European tour. Won a lot of events, and I think you're right. It will not be long before we see him joining the Mosconi. But overall, I think players were a little bit rusty. They've not really had the competition time. A lot of them have
COVID
been
stroke.
The virtual, COVID, yeah. A lot of them have been playing the virtual stuff, of course, where there's been no safety or anything like that. Yeah. So it's been a completely, it's been a weird time for us all, hasn't it? What do you reckon, guys? Are we ready? Shall we queue up the Dame?
So what I'd like to do is I'm going to show this interview we did with Kelly, and I'd like to keep the chat up and for you guys to comment on it. One, I want to make sure that it's working properly, and two, I want to hear your feedback on this interview that we did with Kelly Fisher today. So let's see if I
Love the
can
interview.
get rolling.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was super fun.
So we're joined by multiple world champion in 3 different cue sports, snooker, billiards, pool. I'm not going to say how many in each one, Kelly, because I never seem to be. If you don't mind, is just
okay, guys. We're gonna try one other thing here. So just stand by for 1 second. I'll bring in this video. I want to make sure you guys get to see this, and we do have a smaller clip that if we have to go to it, we'll go to it. But let's see. Here we go.
So we're joined by multiple world champion in 3 different cue sports, snooker, billiards, pool. I'm not going to say how many in each one, Kelly, because I never seem to be very good with numbers, and I've already been embarrassed online when I was commentating on a match of you. I was actually commentating with you, as I seem to remember. It was in the queue. It was in the VG9, I think it was, wasn't it, or something like that? Anyway, I think so, Mike. We are here to talk to the dame of the diamond table, the dame of the Rasson, the dame of the Brunswick, whichever table you're playing on. You are the dame, and I hope I'm going to actually write to the Queen and say I think it's about time that you united or gave her a dameship or whatever it's called, Kelly. Just want to say very quickly, congratulations on your performance at the Matchroom Predator Champions League pool event just recently. I know you've probably done loads and loads of interviews since your brilliant performance there. So we're not going to dwell too much on it. But what I'd just like to get from you, if you don't mind, is just how it was from the time you received the first call. We want you, Emily Fraser called you, I guess, and said, right, we want you to come and play in the Predator Cup. How was it from the time you got the call to the time you walked out that door from the last time?
Well, at first, to be honest with you, Mark, I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. I was excited. And then I got the email about the format. And I'm like, I have not got a clue what's going on here. 7 players, right, okay, in a group, right, but it kept saying 19 players total. And I'm thinking 7 times 7, 49. How's there 19 players? Anyway, I couldn't get my head around it. 2 more join in, and then I found out I was in group 1. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not fair. How am I in group 1? And I've got to, in order to qualify, I've got to play 7 groups, and I couldn't work it out. And then I phoned Emily, and I said, Emily, I need to ask you, why am I in group 1 against all the best players, and yet you've got Jasmine who's in group 7, and she can just qualify like that? And she explained, you'll have more chances, Kelly. We've done it by ranking. You're ranked higher than Jasmine, so you come in first. And she explained it all to me, and I kind of got it then. So yeah, I packed my luggage, and normally everything's right there because I'm traveling all the time. So but this time it wasn't, and so I'm like, right, have I forgot something? And I went over and over, and sure enough, I did forget something, but I can't remember right now what it is I forgot. However, it took me ages to pack my luggage. I was so excited as well about it. It was like you'd think I would let out of prison or something, And anyway, got in the car. My friend come with me, Connor, who I practiced with, and we were driving for 5.5 hours, and we had a sing-song all the way. So we were singing top of our voices all the way down.
What were you singing?
literally-
What were you singing? Tell me what your
What-
karaoke song is. Come on. What do you
we,
sing?
we 5 hours of it. We sang all sorts. You name it. And I Will Always Love You even was on that. I mean, oh, it was horrible. Adele, you name it.
Wow.
And like I say, you'd think we'd been let out of a cage. Anyway, we arrived there, and the whole thing that I was a little nervous about was I took a COVID test before, just a home one before the day before, and it was negative. But of course, you know, you're always concerned about that COVID test. And the thing was as well was if Connor tested positive, I was be pulled out of the tournament too because we travelled together. So he also did a test the night before. He did a few that week because he was panicking, to tell you the truth. Anyway, we got there, and straight away, you know, it's just knowing what to do with the whole COVID thing. So we got in there, masks on, straight up to level 3, and COVID test. 3 hours, you've got to isolate in your room. So, you know, we made light of it. We didn't panic about it. But, you know, getting toward that 3 hours, I'm like, oh, come on, let us know whether we... Sure enough, it come back negative. Yeah, sweating, you know, and then I'm unpacking my luggage and I'm thinking to myself, be confident, be positive. I've unpacked everything and realised what I'd forgot, which I can't remember to tell you, I'm sorry. But it was something minute. And, yeah, then we got the all clear, out the room, down to the practice table, going to have a look at the venue and etc. But unbeknown to me, I'd still got the rules, well, not the rules, but the format wrong. So all that I thought I'd worked out, I was still wrong. Anyway, I just kind of thought that wherever you finished was the place that you were at. I didn't understand the semi-final and final part. Anyway, it was cool. I got it explained to me, and I just practiced for that evening. Next day, chilled a bit, practiced, went around and met a few of the players, and yeah, just went for a walk and stuff like that. We're only allowed out once a day for a run or a walk. So
round the exercise yard of the prison.
Yeah. And in my room, I had a beautiful view of the football pitch.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a great room.
Yeah, MK Dons.
MK Dons, yeah. I took some pictures. I got a great room. And yeah, so we weren't allowed, couldn't get out of the room to go and actually, because you were right on the stadium. The seats were right there in front of your room. Couldn't go out though, but it was cool. And then, you know, obviously then you prepare. On the Sunday, I was just kind of chilling and practicing, just trying to get myself ready for the match. And I didn't know what to expect. You know, I knew if I played well, I'd give the guys a fight. But I also knew if I didn't play well, I was going to get a whooping. And you know, that's...
Do you still get nervous?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You know, the nerves are not really about the tournament. It's more about myself. You know, I just want to play well.
Your standards.
If I play well, yeah, my standard of play. You know, you just don't want to go out there and, you know, play bad, especially against the guys you can't afford to do it. Even against the women, you know, now you can't afford to do it. But I just want to go out there and play well. So I think that's the only kind of nerve build-up I have. Because I know if I play well, then I'll give anybody a good game. So... But really, really exciting. It was more special and exciting because it's been a while, you know. Like I say, the build-up was good.
You know,
the table looked an absolute nightmare the opening few days, sliding and so quick, and the rails looked like they were bouncing weird. How difficult was that table? Because I don't think a lot of players realise just how difficult it is to go from the table where you are now, of course. I know you've got a table in your room, to playing on something like that. I mean, everyone struggled on that table, right, the first couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, that's same in any competition, to be honest, Mark, any big event. You know, you go there, you're expecting a table. It's brand new cloth, brand new table, they're brand new balls. Everything's not what you can mimic in your own practice room. We try, you know, I mean, I get a new cloth. I'm going to be getting a new cloth 2 weeks prior to the next event, the World Cup of Pool. But, you know, by the day you arrive or go there, it's not new anymore. So you can't mimic it. It's impossible. So that's something that, you know, players have to adapt. And the ones that adapt quicker than the others are the ones that get out the gate firing all cylinders. But For me, the table was all right. I mean, it was more a couple of shots. I actually had two little panic shots that I had to go and practice because I missed same shot twice because I'm using spin, and I hit it sick both times. So I called Lionel, my coach, and I said, look, I know what it is, but, you know, he says, do I forget about it? He says, go and work, you know, practice it. It took me 20 minutes. I just worked on it 20 minutes. And by that time, I knew how to adjust. I just were aiming, or I knew that I was aiming too fat for how it would spin on my table, which is not brand new cloth, brand new balls, to how it would spin on that table. So, you know, and that's the same for everybody, really.
I thought you actually adapted quicker than a lot of the other players, and I think that's got something to do with your technique, with your compact cue action. I thought you coped with it a lot better than a lot of the other players. I'm not going to say men or women. I'm just going to, because we're talking about Paul here, right? And you know me, I don't like having the men-women conversation. It's a game of Paul, and it's in my eyes, everyone is equal. And just leading on from that slightly, I'd just like to say, do you feel that given more opportunities like this to play competition against the guys, okay, that your game will raise as well? And that's what you're lacking in the women's game at the moment, the lack of tournaments or opportunities to play against people, I don't want to say better than you, but I'm going to say, you know, of a slightly stronger level, let's say.
Well, the men's game is slightly different than the women's game, and how I can explain it the best, the shot selections, I mean, Mike, I'll tell you, you know, and you guys know too, that the guys, the way they play the game of pool, it's a lot more aggressive, it's a lot more attacking. They play shots differently, and they play the game slightly differently. Again, it's just more of an open game, it's break and run. There is some great safety battles, don't get me wrong, but, you know, they'll go for that bank, 100%, there's no question. Whereas in the women's game, it's like, you know, a safe serve, should I bank it, should I safe it? And, you know, often you talk yourself out of it and you'll play the safe and you could come the worst end of it. But it's a different game. You know, I just feel it's more of an open attacking game, and that suits me better. When I play Christina, I noticed straight away the difference. Straight away I could see that we got into a safety battle. If you watch it back, you can see the difference. The ball's even in different places. It's weird, but so for me personally, I think playing against the guys really, you know, made me. I've got an aggressive game anyway in the women's game, but it made me even more aggressive, which I loved. I loved that. You know, the long banks that I took on. I thought to myself, would I have done that in the Women's World Championships? Probably not, but now I will. Hopefully, I've learned something from it. And the more I play against the guys, the more I'm going to learn from it. So for me, it's a plus plus. I did say in my last, in another interview that I did, that, you know, playing the Ghost also has helped me, because all these virtual events, you've no choice but to go for everything, because you can't play safe in a Ghost event, of course. And that's helped my game anyway, to become more aggressive.
Has that affected your safety play? Did you notice that at all? Did you notice it affecting it?
For sure. For sure. I did work on it a couple of weeks prior to this event, specifically, which normally I don't really work on it so much as specific as I had to do. I would say that I'd kind of got the rust away, but there was a couple of shots I questioned, you know, what was the best way, and then it come to me. It took a bit longer to register. Same with the kicking, you know, just second guessing myself a little bit on the kicking, especially on the new table, new cloths and stuff.
For sure.
But the one thing I forgot to think about prior to going was push-outs. So
you don't get that with virtual.
I come up with a couple of push-outs, and I thought, oh, what should I do here? You know, where is it to push out? And obviously it took me quite a bit longer to register the right, if I did choose the right shot, but my choice of shot took me longer than normal. But yeah, the men's game is definitely where it suits me down to the aggressive side and the way, you know, the smoothness of play and getting
I know Joey has got a question. Just while we're on that, though, I don't want to hog this interview at all, because I know we've got very, very limited time, but you're talking a lot there about the time it was, and second guessing. I am so happy they brought that shot clock in on day 3. I mean, we did our last podcast that we done, our last show that we did on the Tuesday. It was the first day, I think it was, and we were really screaming, bring that shot clock in, because it's just ruining the game, you know. Yeah, I'm not going to name any players, of course, because it doesn't matter. I'm sure everyone had their own little things. When you've not got any limit, then you're going to take all the time that you can. But I'm just so happy. And I honestly thought that helped you slightly, because you're known as Kelly Quickfire Fisher anyway, right? And you are a quick player.
Rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think every tournament should have that from the start, or were you happy they brought it in? Didn't you care? What was your view on it?
I was happy they brought it in. I never really thought about it on day one, but day two I could see that it was holding up the matches. Things were getting late, and there was, there always is certain players that are slower than others. You're going to get that, but I knew it wouldn't hurt me. It wouldn't affect me, because I like a shot clock, and I think that really every tournament should have a shot clock. But the only thing that surprised me, and not surprised me, that's the wrong word, but the only thing that I thought was 30 seconds was a bit too short.
Yeah.
Even for me, I mean,
45.
Yeah, 45, perfect. Because that 30 seconds is just a little short on a couple, when you kick in, just a couple of things. I mean, of course, when you're running out, no, it's not. But there was a couple of instances I thought it caught me out, and that's me as a quick player. So I felt sorry for the slow players. So 45 seconds, perfect. Shot clock from the beginning, absolutely. Yeah.
So going back to what you were saying earlier about the women's game and playing with men now, I'd argue that with your success that you've had for so long, and with the level of talent that's grown with women in Asia and how strong of competitors that come out of there, that them picking you to be an ambassador for the women in this event was absolutely genius. Do you take that responsibility of kind of like wearing the flag for women players and going into matchroom events? Do you think about that at all?
Absolutely. I mean, I did think about it leading up to the event, especially being on day one. So being kind of the flagship, if you like, for women coming in. And I really wanted to try to not put too much pressure on myself, because it meant a lot on how I did, really.
You held your own.
Yeah, and I kind of tried not to put too much pressure on myself, because like I said already, I knew if I played well, I'd be able to hold my own somewhat. So I did want to show the world, if you like, that, myself and there's many of players as good, that we have got, a high standard. The women's game is strong now. And I think it has been for a while. I mean, especially when you look at Asia, your Chen Ximin, your Han Yu, there's some fantastic players, and we've got some great Europeans coming through as well. So yeah, we have got, it's getting more deeper. The standards getting better and getting deeper in the field.
And you're still winning events.
I'm getting old though, Mike. I'm getting old.
No, but it's incredible for you to have that sustainability. I mean, you would have every excuse in the world to go and fail in that matchroom event. They would go and say, oh, well, she's a women player. Maybe she didn't go and belong, but you held your own. There's something to be said about that. And to go and know that going into it and then still perform the way you did. I mean, my hat's off to you, but much respect.
Yeah. Thank you, darling. Much appreciated.
Yeah, then just following on for that slightly, it must be tougher being a woman coming into that. Everyone expects you to fail, don't they? And it just puts that little bit of extra pressure on. Is the women's game as good as the men's? I think you showed. Bloody right it is. It's up there. Mm-hmm. It really is, Kelly. It is right up there. And I think given the chance to have more tournaments with more competition like that, I think we are going to see women going deeper and deeper into these tournaments. And who knows, very, very soon, even winning one.
I agree that I think you're going to see, the more that they do it, and that's Emily Fraser's goal. The more that they do it, the more we're going to, get new players starting earlier, and it's just going to increase the women's game completely, get more depth to it, and you'll see women go further and further in the field. I think it's great. We're a bit skeptical at first. I'm thinking, well, we should have our own women's events. We don't need to be in the men's. What other sport does that? But I can see where she's taking it, and I can see that, it's a market that has not been touched. And if they use it right, which I think Matchroom, and I know Matchroom will, then it will really do well for our sport as a whole. Forget men, women. It will really do well for pool, because it's going to make it more popular, more people watch it, more people play it, more we grow.
You know,
That's the
Kelly.
point, right? Grow it. Yeah. Sorry. Right. Go on, Joe. You've not
No,
been able to get
I
a
can't
word
get a word in
edgewise.
edgewise here, you know. But
Molina Mike.
jeez,
I'm
can
but
talk.
but this
I'm
is
just
all
dogging it the whole setup here.
no. This is
I
this
can talk, I tell you.
this has been great, Kelly. We really appreciate it. But you know, I have to give you an apology. Actually, I don't know. My partners here, I don't think they remember, but we started a new segment each week that we have a sponsor, and it's a YouTube channel called Board Lock Picker. And he picks locks. And so each week we're going to pick and predict some kind of lock, you know, in gambling terms, like, you know, something that's going to happen. And on last week's episode, I predicted that you would make the final group, and then the very next day you got eliminated. So I'm sorry for that.
Jinxed you. That's what
It
it
had
was.
nothing to do with your play.
Yeah.
It was all my
Oh, wow.
responsibility, and I take responsibility for that 100%.
Nothing to do with that one ball I missed or the three ball I
No,
missed.
no, it was all me. It
That
was
was
all
Joey.
me.
It was all Joey.
Thank you, Joey.
But I
Thank you for taking
apologize.
my responsibility.
Yeah. But you know, I'm so curious as to how, especially the male players, how did they treat you at the event, like behind the scenes and stuff? I'm curious.
Great, honestly. I mean, you know, I've known Chris for a long, long time. He's from good old Yorkshire, man. So, you know, we just sit like we've seen each other down the pub. We sit there chatting away, and then I'll tell you who I got on well with that I've never had a chance to spend much time with, and that's Catchy. And he's a little cutie pie. He really is, honestly. But everybody's shown so much respect. None of the guys made any kind of comments of thinking I were going to lose, or any kind of comments about in any negative way whatsoever. Everybody were really positive, and when I did start winning some matches, they were all like, "Come on, Kelly, you know, you're playing great." And even the guys in my group pump fisted me, said, "What a great performance, you know, well done." What was David Alcaide calling me? What was it now? It was a funny saying because he's Spanish. He didn't quite say it right, but he was saying something like, the killer something, I forget now, but it was cool, and they were all so great and so
Kingfisher.
enthusiastic. And,
Okay.
no, I hope. No, but yeah, no, really, really positive. Made me feel very relaxed, didn't feel whatsoever anything negative, just kind of really pushed me, really. They did.
Speaking on Kachi, I had heard that the very first day that he wasn't aware, like he was kind of confused on the format as well. I think he got number one in the overall matches, and he thought he had won it. He thought he was in, and come to find out that he ended up having to go and play in the semi and the final. So I think a lot of people were confused. Was that true? Do you know?
It was true. We sat and chatted about it, but I'm not sure if he. I might be wrong here, but I know on the day of play he found out the actual rules because we were sat around the table in the players' lounge, and he said, "Oh, I've got it now, Kelly. I've got it now." I said, "Are you sure? Because I were wrong too. I got it wrong too." I said, "Are we sure?" And you know, we were laughing about that. So, but I'm not sure if at what stage he did get it really. But yeah, it was true. Yeah, he thought that, you know, like me, I kind of thought it that way too, and we were both wrong.
I thought that, you know, when we talked last time, you told the story about coming to the United States, $750 in your pocket, and your friend was like, "Hey, we're going to Maryland to play in a tournament." And you're like, "I don't have a cue and I don't know the rules," you know, and it's kind of like the same thing. You didn't even know the format of this tournament. You just jump in a car, you head down there, and you're going to play the event. I love that about you. I think it's so cool. And I think Mike brought up a great point before about, you know, this is an invitational. And you were invited for a reason, and it's because of you being such a great ambassador, not just for the women's game, for the sport of pool. So I was really rooting for you every day and cheering you on, and I did want you to make that final group, and so maybe next time. So keep at it.
Thank you, Joey, and I really appreciate them kind words. I mean, you know, I think it's important that we have players that kind of we show the young players, you know, that's the thing, is keeping the sport professional, showing the young players a nice polished brand, if you like, you know, and if we want to help our sport grow, then we're certainly doing that in the right way now. I think Matchroom do a great job, and all you guys that are really working hard to promote this sport that we all love. You know, it's all part of what will help grow it. And whether you're a player, a promoter, it doesn't matter. We're all in it together like a family.
As someone who has daughters, and I'm sure Joey can appreciate this, we appreciate the kind of professional you are.
I've got
You do. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
sorry,
man.
Mark.
I'm
Got
dogging
daughters
it all day.
well.
So I mean, giving
Go
them
ahead.
someone to go and look up to in the sport is extremely important. And what you do is not lost. So it's great to be able, when I'm sitting down and watching pool, and when my daughters come in, I can go and say, hey, there are women players. You know, my daughter went with me to go see I think it was Fedor and Jeff, and Christina was there, and she saw her and she said, well, who is she? I said, she's a professional pool player. She had no idea. So it's great to have women like you who not only are great ambassadors, but you play the game well. You play the game at a standard that nobody on earth can go and play. So, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Now, going back to Matchroom, word is that you guys are playing, you and Allison are going to be in the Great Britain D team. How excited are you for that?
Oh, now, absolutely, I'm thrilled. I mean, Alison's going to come over. She's going to fly over. She's going to come here and practice for a few days before we go down to Milton Keynes to get on the brand new tables. So
I was going to say the brandy then or something.
No, that's going to be fun. Honestly, we're going to, you know, I've known her for, good grief, 29 years. And knowing her for, you know, a good part of 27, 26 years of that. So we're going to basically, you know, I'm going to try and go into it like I did this last one. I'm going to go and enjoy it, not put too much pressure, but I think me and her are going to banter and have so much fun. And I think we'll give them a run for their money. I really do.
Agreed.
I'll be betting on you.
We're gonna have to wrap this up. I mean, honestly, every time I get to talk to you, I've told you this. Every time I spoke to you, Kelly, I get so what's the word? I'm overawed because you really were a hero for me growing up. I grew up with snooker, as you know, and to be able to get and sit with you and talk to you, and I know we private message and that when we're setting up these kind of stuff, and you're just such a lovely person. And I'll tell you what, I've just thought of something. You've gone from playing a frame to the Hall of Fame and hopefully to a dame, because that's what you deserve. You are such a great ambassador for this sport. You are such a beautiful person. You really are. You just, every single time you pick up a cue, every single time you pick up a microphone, everything you do is just absolute quality. And I just lost, for some reason, my my earphone because I was getting so excited. I just want to say one more thing. Now, you're known as Quick Fire Kelly, right? So I've got 3 very, very quick questions for you. And then they're yes or no, one word answers if you want. You can answer them however many you want. Right. Magic rack, yes or no?
Yes.
I agree. So much time being wasted in between racks trying to get the balls tight. Everyone makes a ball anyway the majority of time they make a ball, right? So just use the magic rack. Those poor referees. Oh, by the way, very, very quickly, I just thought, you were playing, weren't you, when the 9 ball was... I'm no blame.
Oh, yeah.
Of course
I want to
not.
know.
Did
y'all know?
Were playing in the game, and had you been breaking from the other side, you would have made the 9 ball and a golden break. Now, obviously, I know the answer, but go on, tell us what you would have done if the 9 would have flown in as the wing ball.
Oh...
Or did you know?
I didn't know. No, I didn't know. If I'd have known, I'd have gone to the other side. No, joking. I'd have told the referee.
It's a golden break.
No, I'd have told the referee.
I love it.
Yeah, I'd have told the referee. But if the 9 ball had gone in, then we would have known, wouldn't we? So I'd have just asked for a re-rack. Yeah, I don't want to win like that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I thought I knew that.
In fact, to be honest with you, I didn't know till after the match. And I felt kind of bad for the 2-9 combo because the 9 ended up by the 2. I make a 2-9 combo after that.
Was it the same rack?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah, I didn't know. But I had no clue. I didn't have a clue till after the match. Yeah.
I wish you could remember which.
Anyway, I lost anyway.
Yeah, I wish you could remember.
I do remember. The 9 ball.
Oh, go on.
No, the 9 ball was when I was 3-1 down. The 9 ball where I made it was racked in the wrong position. I made the 2-9 combo. That was when I was 3-1 down. But you're on about the jump shot, right?
Yeah, I'd love to talk just quickly. Did you play the position onto the was that? I thought that was a shot at the championship, personally.
Yeah, I
Brilliant.
did play. I didn't think I was going to make it and get perfect, though. I did play it.
The reason
I love the honesty.
The reason I asked you to which racket it was in, because I really wanted to play it, because we do this thing shot of the week, and I wanted to make that shot of the week, and I thought it was shot of the tournament as well. I don't know whether you guys saw it. She jumped over a ball, made the one, and she had a window literally about 2 ball widths to get in, and she got into it and onto the 2 ball and played it absolutely brilliant. Okay, 2 more quick fire questions for you, Kelly. When you finished a match, obviously normally it's late, there's either Chinese or Indian Open. What do you go for, Chinese or Indian?
Oh, that's a 50-50, but Chinese.
Okay, and who's going to be, if it's not you winning the next World Championship, who do you think will be the next World Championship who will be next World Champion out of these 2 players, Christina Tkach or Margaret Fifilova?
Oh, way to put her on the spot there, buddy.
Absolutely right. That's what we do here.
The hot seat.
Here we're in the final.
Don't give us the political correct answer here. We want to know the truth. Come on now.
I think Margaret.
I agree.
Because of technique or what?
Well, just because she's improved. Christina's improved immensely, don't get me wrong. But Margaret, from what I've seen since the lockdown and just before the lockdown, I would like to say that her game has improved. It's jumped. And, you know, like I say, they're very close, though. I mean, if I were to gamble on that match, realistically, I would gamble something like a hill. You know, so I'm not just saying it to answer your question. I actually would put money on it being a very close match. They are pretty close. And again, you know, until we get in tournaments where I'm seeing them more to see how they've really improved, because I've not seen Margaret in a real tournament. I've seen Christina in this one, but see them in a real tournament and the women's tournament, and then I'd kind of be able to even answer that one more specifically. But don't ask me again.
And my final question, okay, my very, very final question, and it is the most important question, and it's one on everyone's. Oh, before I do that, very, very quickly, we had a message from Kim Hernandez Pierce, who said she is so stoked up to play more, and you are a new hero, and you've given us so much confidence to go on and play the game more because of your performance at the latest tournament this week.
Oh, so bless her. I know Kim. That's great. Yeah, well, she's a great player. I look forward to seeing you, Kim, over in the WPBA events.
Oh, thanks for that, Kelly. And finally, here is that very, very important question. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Joey says no. Molina Mike loves a bit of pineapple on his pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't mind it because it makes me money if people ask for pineapple on pizza.
Well, my favourite pizza is ham and pineapple.
Hawaiian, the good old Hawaiian, right?
Hawaiian, yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Mark, you need to whip one up for her and get it over there to her for the performance that she had. Get her a pizza. Come on.
It's a bit too far away. She's in Dumfries,
Put him on the spot.
Scotland. I think we're about 300 miles apart, aren't we, Kelly?
It's right. It's right.
I'm in Essex. I'm an Essex boy, so I'm a long way away from you.
I got to go 300 miles to get out of my state here. I mean, that's not far. No. You guys can handle
it. I'm in a different country to Mark. I'm in Scotland. He's in England.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, I think just overall, just to wrap up that event, really, I'm really stoked for Matchroom putting on that event. Really happy to be a part of it. And I think all the guys, you know, they loved it. They didn't know what they were to expect, and they all loved it. Even Billy Thorpe, I really was wishing him to do well. I'm Facebook friends with his mom and his dad, and they're so lovely, you know, wishing him to do well. And he tried his hard, bless him. But there's so many guys that were playing really well. And then when they had a bad day or a bad match, it cost them. So I think it was great. I hope we've got more of them events to come up. Yeah.
Well,
looking forward to seeing you.
I think that's the perfect way to end this interview, unless you've got any other questions you want to ask, guys, very, very quickly? I know Kelly's very busy.
Oh.
She's got to go and speak to, I don't know who it is next she's going to be speaking to. Probably the Queen. She'll be getting down on one knee before the Queen and be calling Dame.
Oh, come on now. I'll be going for my dinner and walking my dog more like.
What are you having? What are you having tonight for dinner? Do you know yet?
Oh, I'm on this diet, right? I'm on a diet, and I've been on it it's my 3rd week now, and you're 21 days on, a week off, 21 days on, and I'm doing like Joe Wick's workout. I'm doing yoga.
Wow.
And then I'm on this diet. We have 2 shakes, a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and then Herbalife.
No, thanks.
All I can
Mark's
say.
over here asking about pizza.
It's working. It's working,
my
darling.
mouth's watering.
The diet's working. You're looking amazing. Can you believe? Can you believe she's 74?
Oh, Mark.
Can you believe I was 20 stone?
Kelly, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Really enjoyed it. Nice to see you
We
all,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Let's do another one. It's really good fun.
Okay, thanks, Kelly.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Oh,
one more. Kelly,
I
I forgot. We're doing this thing every week on our pool show where each player has to run a rack of 10 ball, and we're going to hold it. You know, like on the Top Gear where they do the fastest lap. We're going to do the fastest rack. So you have to break, stop the clock, and then start it again and run the rack as quick as you can. And you can take them in any order. You don't have to take them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can make them in it. So next time you've got a little bit of time, just record it for us and send it over to me. You can have a few attempts and just send us your best one.
I was going to say, I'll be trying all day to get the quickest time and send you the quickest one.
So competitive, Kelly. So competitive.
I know. It's true. I can't help it. All right, guys. Perfect. No problem, Mark. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
Perfect.
Take care,
Nice to
darling.
see you all, and thanks for the interview, and have a good show. Bye.
Thanks. So we're gonna start back a little quiet, just in case people had their mics turned or their volume turned up louder.
Very quietly. Volume down.
But
And then we can really start talking loud and blow their ears away. Well, Kelly mentioned there, have a great show. And I think, guys, today, and looking in the comments, I thought today was a great show. Not for us to say, of course, but seems to be everyone is enjoying it. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it, Mike?
I did, man. I loved it. And Kelly was a great interview. Just fantastic. That was a whole lot of fun there.
Yeah, that was the highlight of my day.
We're gonna repost it, right? We're gonna
we're gonna get it.
We're gonna fix the audio, so
we're gonna get it on Facebook so you guys can check it out tomorrow in case that audio was a little too tough for you. We're still working out the kinks in the technology. We're getting better every week. So thanks so much, guys, for hanging with us. I'm just excited with what this show is going to become. There's so much going on in pool right now, and we have the right people, I think, assembled to talk about it and bring in guests and have a lot of fun. So I just couldn't be happier.
Yeah. Well summed up, well said. Thank you so much for another great show. Cannot wait for next Tuesday. I've already started working on next week's show, and next week we will have Chad Shoulders on from Havoc Productions. He's going to be opening up a new can of worms. He's going to be dropping some names, I think, from what Jay was saying earlier. He's got a new player, maybe, and I know he's doing a lot for the juniors as well. He's got a big junior tournament coming up that he wants to talk about. Mike, where are you off to this week? Where are we going to be hearing about this week? What big games are on this week?
So we got a tournament out in Alabama with some one pocket rotation. That'll be super exciting. I think TV Mike's putting that on. That'll be stuff for people to be able to watch this week. And then 2 weeks I'll be heading up to Dallas again. Dennis and Sky race to 150 bar box 10 ball. So hopefully we can get one of those two guys on here and we'll talk about it some.
Yeah, let's get Skylar on if we can. What do you reckon to that?
That'd be nice. He'll do it. Skylar's awesome. He just came on my podcast and it was a really fun interview.
Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for all your comments. You don't know how much we really do appreciate it. Congratulations to Del Sim for winning the caption of the week. And we are going to be posting over the next couple of days. We're going to be posting a picture of Joey. I think it might be. Is it going to be you, Joey?
Stay tuned to my Facebook. I'll be the one to drop it.
Okay, you drop it, Molina. It's up to you, mate. You are in charge of that. Molina Mike from Texas there. Thank you so much, mate. Joey Ryan, the man with all the technology at his fingertips. He's done an awesome job. You don't know how hard this guy works. Molina Mike and I have got the easy job. We just come in, turn the microphones on and talk rubbish for a couple of hours. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Have a great day over there. I'm off to bed. It's gone 3 a.m. here. It's very late for me, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. Thank you so much.
Appreciate everybody staying with us.